Good morning, folks. Today we are going to do live waterproof testing of the MH12GTS from Nitecore. Now, generally speaking, I don't do flashlight reviews live because editing always helps. But today, the reason we're doing the Nitecore MH12G2S live is because after I received this from the manufacturer, they sent one for testing. They sent me an email, and I had already shot a video of this, a tabletop with some video of me flashing it around like you've seen before on the channel. And one of the complaints that I had about it was the little USB charge port in the back. You can see this charging port on it is right next to the tail cap switch, and it's just a little rubber gasket port like you see on everything. And if you heard me before on the channel say, I don't really like USB charging external flashlights because they rely on that little tiny rubber piece to keep water and debris out of the USB port, and so it's a point of ingress for water, and that can cause the light to fail, and for anything you're going to use for serious purposes, I don't like that. So I got an email before I sent it out, before I told them I was even going to say that. I got an email from Nitecore, and I'm going to read it to you here off of my wife's phone. There, you guys can kind of see that email. I guess you could freeze frame it and read it if you want. There's the proof it was actually sent. So it says, "Hi Tommy, I have a quick update on the MH12GTS. What I wanted to share with you as you're working on your review. As you may have noticed, the MH12GTS features a new style of tail cap that includes the USB charging port. This isn't something that Nitecore normally does on their flashlights. I was kind of surprised by it when I saw it. This revolutionary design combines an internally waterproof charging port with a rubber cover for additional protection against solids. So this little rubber port on the back is just supposed to keep grit and grime from getting in there and messing up the USB so you can't charge it later." They go on. All right. "This means that the MH12GTS will stay waterproof even if the USB port cover is not properly secured. If you could highlight this new feature in your review and help educate people, I would appreciate it greatly. Even better if you could get adventurous and want to submerge the flashlight for testing. We'd love to see some shots. Cheers, Tina." That's the person that originally contacted me about doing the review on the light, Tina Clary. So that's the light, and I am dual recording this, obviously, because I'm going to use it in the eventual review of this. Make sure my 8 camera is running here, and then I can refer back to it. Hey, you can see what the company said, what they sent me. None of that is on the packaging for this. They're not marketing it right now, but I guess this is their new thing. Maybe people complained. I don't know. So we are going to dunk this, and I'm going to move you guys around. I'm sorry about the video being a little shaky. You're just kind of on my phone. So the best way I could figure to do this would be to turn it on and drop it in the water and shake it around and do all those types of things, and then come back and maybe do a live stream later after it's dried and see if it charges, because obviously shorting out the USB doesn't do anybody any good. So we're going to do this, and then we're going to come back later and show whether or not this light still charges, and we're going to do that live as well. So here we go. Turn it on. Now the water's fairly clean, even though it's in my bucket of fun. So we're going to leave the USB port cover open, and we're going to dunk it in, and then I'm going to take some comments and questions from all of you about it. Now, I want to show everybody that this cover is actually open. That's the USB port. All right. It's about, I don't know, about a foot down in the water. Water's about yay high. We're going to shake it around. Now, obviously, at 3 o'clock in the morning, that's a pretty good test for whether or not the light is going to keep working. If you drop in a big puddle of water, it gets rained on, and that cover isn't pushed down all the way. That's pretty good. So for your So for your 3 a.m. test of whether or not this is going to fail you because water got in it through the USB port, that's pretty solid. Hopefully we got really good video. I can see up there we're getting a really good video of it. We'll do a couple of them. I always do a couple of them if I'm videotaping on the A camera to see which one comes out better. It's about getting a good view for all of you, not making the thing work. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it live. So, we're going to let that soak for a while, because I know that's not part of the testing procedure generally. And take some comments and questions from all of you about the test. Away from my bucket a little bit here, so dry my hand off so that I don't drop my phone in the bucket, because I know that USB port is not waterproof. TerraPoint says hello, hi, hey, what's going on? How are you doing? I'm doing great. Good morning. Hello, everyone. Love the channel. And that's it. Got 42 people watching, and nobody has anything to say other than hi and hello. That's actually kind of disappointing. Oh well. You can see I'm waterproofing my tent for a camping trip this weekend in the background here. I figured while I was doing it, I would make the video, and I was like, hey, we can live stream this. YouTube likes when we do lots and lots of updates. Still running. Nothing makes me think that it's going to stop. So while we're here, we'll do a couple other tests with it about whether or not it'll keep running. So one thing is, you sometimes figure you're going to get some water ingress from other points inside the light, like the tail cap switch. Should be waterproof, but some inferior lights, you can't turn them on and off underwater. This one doesn't seem to have that problem. Turns on and off just fine. Oh, I see we are actually getting some comments now. We'll go to those. As soon as I can wipe my hand off. Probably should have brought another towel with other than the one I'm sitting on. Let's go to those, and I think we're going to wrap it up. Greetings from Brazil. Greetings, Kodama. James Conquest says, have you used any police apps on your phone? There's a scanner app that works kind of well. I don't have a lot of use for a scanner because I have an interop radio in my car that covers most of that. And there's we have ShotSpotter, so I have the ShotSpotter app on my phone. That works fairly well. Actually, I was surprised how well ShotSpotter works. And there's another one, Hero 911, which is, you can look them up. It's kind of a system where a school can pay to have the system where they can immediately contact the police about an active shooter. I haven't seen it work yet. Not that it doesn't work, but I haven't seen an activation sent from a teacher at a school for an active shooter because it's not in widespread use yet. But it's on my phone, just in case. James Fat Matt, says, does this light have holster options or is it more of a pocket light? This light, it comes with a polymer, or not polymer, but like a ballistic nylon holster. So, you can put it in that holster. It's fairly large for an 18650 battery flashlight. It's a little longer than you'd be used to. I don't have another 18650 to show it next to. It's about a half an inch longer than what you would expect, and I'd be willing to bet you that's because the tail cap's a little longer in order to fit the USB charging in the back of it. That's kind of what I'm seeing. It's fairly thin. I carried this in my pocket, but it is a little bit longer. That's something to know. But it does come with a clip. It's non-reversible, unfortunately, but it comes with a clip so you can slide in your pocket, and a little knurl if you like using the syringe method with pistols. And it also comes with a case, which you'll see in the full video of the light. OG Dragon 445 says, what are we doing? We are testing if the waterproof USB port on this light is actually waterproof. If you could drop the light in the water and if it's actually waterproof. And we already did it, but, just for you, dude, it appears to work. I'm going to come back and do a live stream in, maybe an hour or two, just to show that if you plug it back in, it still charges. And so it didn't short out the USB port. Because if I try to charge it now, it won't. Like, you'll short it out because there's a bunch of water sitting on the contacts. But the question here is, does it allow water ingress into the light. It doesn't look like it. Cameron says, "Can you get a pouch for it, or is it just the clip?" It comes the package they sent me for this, and my understanding is the way this is sold is with a pouch. So there's that. There's no extra charge, as far as I know, about a pouch. James Pulaski says, "Would this be a good flashlight for clearing your house with if you hear a burglar?" I mean, it'll work. It definitely works. There's lots of lights on the market that'll work for that. This one puts out 1800 lumens. It's pretty bright. It's not a super big thrower. It's not like Thor fire level, just floodlight. It does confine the beam fairly well inside your house. I don't think it's going to be any problem. In fact, the great thing I think this would be good for would be camping because it's USB rechargeable. Lots of people like me, they camp near their car in a campsite where they're going to be able to plug something in. And it slips into a pocket or in a pouch fairly well, and it puts out a lot of light. As much throw as you would expect from like a 600 lumen thrower of this same size, but also it has the flood, and that's, I think, where the 800 lumens comes in. So it's definitely not a cheap light. I mean, we've dunked it in water a few times. I might drop it a couple of times and see if it passes the drop test, but I haven't had a flashlight yet that didn't pass the drop test. So, I mean, 2 meters, it's not really that far for something made aircraft aluminum. Mike Sosa says, "Have you done a video on how to clean a stinky vest?" No, I haven't. That's actually not a bad idea. But realistically, all you have to do is you take the ballistic panels out of the vest, and you take the cover, and you wash it in a washing machine. Ideally, you want to have 2 of those covers. I know most people don't. But once a week, just take it off and wash the thing in a washing machine. And most vest covers you can do that with. Yolanda Bishop says, "Going to the academy soon, and this would be great to have. Would it be good for a duty light?" I haven't used it as a duty light yet. I've put the Olight Javelot, the one we ran over with a car a couple of times and dunked in water and stuff. I put that on my vest, and I've been using that in lieu of my normal duty light to see how well it would work in that role. That one works fairly well. I haven't done that with this yet. And you kind of have to use something for its purpose for a while before you can be like, oh yeah, that would be great. I don't see any reason why you couldn't use that for this for that purpose. Koma Kaluski says, "For EDC, it's a good flashlight, question mark. I want to change my Olight M18 for one Nitecore." Well, Nitecore makes a lot of stuff. This is a little large for just carrying in your pocket, depending on what you're used to. Like I said, it's a little longer because of the USB in the back of it. Nitecore makes a lot of other stuff that doesn't have a USB port that's shorter if you want something that's smaller for EDC. This is a little large for me for EDC. But again, you can see the type of clothes that I wear. Like Adidas running pants and a t-shirt. And so the stuff that I carry around every day, my flashlight out here. Oop, there it is yay size. Right? You kind of see the size difference we're talking about here. I'm using something that's a single CR123 or AA or AAA. That's just me. A lot of people I know carry 18650 flashlights. They want that extra performance for EDC, which I don't see, but if that's what you want, that would work. Shintifuga says, "Plug may be waterproof, but the contacts shouldn't be used to charge if wet, since it will cause rust on the contacts." Well, that's why I said we're going to come back later and live stream a little bit, just make sure that it still charges and it hasn't destroyed the port getting wet. So, I'll blow the water out of it, let it dry, and then we'll see if it still charges. I don't anticipate that will be a problem, but if I don't do that, someone will say, "Oh, you didn't do that," so I'm going to do it. Do you know what the run time for how many hours the light will run for? How long do you charge it for? I charge all the lights the same way. I'll plug them in before I go to work or before I go to bed, and then unplug them afterward, because I don't think more than 8 hours of charging is really realistic. Most people are going to plug it in before they do something for 8 hours and just leave it and then come back to it. I don't know how long they say to charge it, and I don't have the sheet in front of me to say how long it runs. And most of these lights, you have to understand that full output 1800 lumens, I don't have it in front of me, but I would wager to say it's not going to run 30 minutes or an hour at that output, because you can't put off that much heat from the light. When these lights put that type of output out, they're putting out a lot of heat, and that heat has to go somewhere. So that'll be in the full review in the future of this light. For right now, you have to understand that about lights is that they don't get that full output the entire time. And so you have to look at what a lower output would be and how long they run. And I've yet to run across a light that like crapped out in 10 minutes at high, putting out 400 lumens or 600 lumens. So most of them are getting fairly good runtime. And I haven't noticed from my personal use of any of the lights that we've tested that they get less runtime than what people are saying. Normally it's a little higher. Rutfollow666 says, what is the IPX rating? I don't have the box in front of me. I should have brought the box. I'm sorry. I'm not going to run around and go find it. That'll be all in the end review, or I can put a link down below, or you can just Google this light, and I'm sure it's going to be all over all of their advertisement and all of the sales for it. Ooh, I've still been recording for 15 minutes on my A camera. I really don't want to do that. All right. Amir Hall says you should put on your duty belt so everyone can see how duty belt look on you. Everyone's seen it several times on the channel. James Conquest says, do you like 511 flashlights ever used? If you guys at work have them, they really like them. They're fairly light lights, like they don't weigh a lot for a duty light, because the ones that I've seen at work are all made of polymer. They're the same size as a Streamlight Stinger, but they're polymer, so they're lighter, and guys like them for that reason. Ja88 said, great test. Would it shock you if the USB had an open circuit? Nothing would shock me at this point with doing reviews. We've all seen other reviews where I've live streamed it and the thing has failed miserably. And I've been like, why is this failing miserably? You said it did XYZ. And they're like, oh, no, that meets the standard. And I'm like, the standard doesn't make any sense. Like, test it how it's supposed to be used, right? Like, you drop it in a puddle, it's going to crap out on you. That's the test. Amiri Hall just keeps typing the same thing over and over again. He says, you should go to the gun range and put it on YouTube. You guys have seen me shooting things on YouTube. We do armor testing. You've seen it. Dylan C says, I work security at a local mall and I use 10 codes on the radio. Do you have any tips on memorizing 10 codes? I'm having a bit of trouble remembering them. You just have to use it. It's like learning a language. Immersion is the best way. That's... You could make a chart of it and then try to memorize them, but immersion is the best way. Listening to people using the same language that you're going to use, and then using that language is how you're going to remember them. OG Dragon 445 says, what is your best torch? That's it. Always lights, as long as I remember to put fluid in it. How do you get rid of smelly ballistic panels? People make spray-on products that you can wipe on the ballistic panels, but normally, if you just take water and a rag, there's this concept in cleanliness. Water plus rag plus wiping makes things cleaner. And most ballistic panels today are non-permeable to water. They have to be to pass NIJ standards. So you just wipe them with water, and most of the sweat and stink is going to come off. Now, you have to do that on a regular basis, otherwise it is going to permeate the plastic on the outside. All right. James Conquest says, what light do you carry on duty? Currently, I have a through night 1AA that I've been using as my backup light for a long time. I might update it with something from Olight because I've got several of those now, but that's what I have on me right now. I have the Olight Javelot, which I put into long-term testing to see how well it works, because they say that's a police duty light. If you say that, you got to be able to back it up. It has to be something that I can use for over a year as a police duty light, so we're working on that. And I have a Streamlight Stinger LED. And that's what I'm carrying. All right, that's it. 20 minutes of water testing. We'll come back in a little while and show whether this still charges. Probably very short video, but we're going to see if this still charges. See you guys later.